It's about my life, and it's about how did I raise my fabulous 3 kids. And it came about that people were stopping me on the streets.
Ivana Trump, a woman who once dominated headlines with her elegance and resilience, spent her final months battling pain, isolation, and the weight of loss as she withdrew from the public eye. The glamorous socialite faced challenges that few knew about. But it wasn't just her tragic end that captured the world's attention, it was her funeral that brought about an unexpected twist. Among the mourners, one guest stood out, shocking everyone with their presence. To truly understand the significance of this moment, we must first delve into the intricate web of relationships and characters in Ivana's life. Ivana Marie Zelnikova's life began in a place that many would struggle to find on a map, Gottwaldov, a town tucked away in Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic. Born on February 20, 1949, Ivana's early years were marked by a mix of warmth and strict discipline. Her father, Miloš Zelnicek, was an electrical engineer, a man who believed in the power of hard work. Her mother, Marie Frankova, balanced her time between her job as a telephone operator and nurturing young Ivana, who would later become known worldwide. From the start, Ivana wasn't your average child. By the age of 4, she was already skiing down slopes with a precision that left adults in awe. Her father, recognizing this raw talent, became her earliest and most demanding coach. The Soviet-era regime made it difficult for anyone to dream beyond the Iron Curtain, but for Ivana, skiing was more than just a sport, it was an escape route, a way to see the world beyond her small town. As she grew, Ivana's skills on the slopes only sharpened. By her teenage years, she had earned a spot on the junior national ski team, a position that allowed her to travel beyond Czechoslovakia's restrictive boundaries. It was during these formative years that Ivana learned the power of determination, a trait that would define much of her life. But skiing wasn't her only passion. Ivana was also determined to pursue education. She enrolled at Charles University in Prague, one of the most prestigious institutions in the country, where she earned a master's degree in physical education by 1972. But Ivana wasn't just confined to the academic world. In 1970, she made a brief but memorable appearance on Czechoslovak television in the children's series Pan Tau, a moment that hinted at her flair for the spotlight. Despite her academic and athletic achievements, Ivana was no stranger to controversy. In 1988, she claimed to have been an alternate for the Czechoslovak ski team during the 1972 Winter Olympics, specializing in downhill and slalom. This claim was initially taken at face value, adding to her mystique, but like many things in Ivana's life, not everything was as it seemed. Years later, it came to light that her claim had been disputed. Peter Pomez, Secretary General of the Czechoslovak Olympic Committee, publicly stated that no records of her involvement existed. Further investigation by Snopes in 2021 revealed that Czechoslovakia hadn't even sent women alpine skiers to the 1972 Olympics, leaving Ivana's story in doubt. But Ivana was never one to be confined by the truth. She knew how to craft a narrative, and this talent extended into her personal life. In 1971, Ivana made a bold move that would change her life forever. She married Alfred Winkelmeyer, an Austrian ski instructor. This wasn't a marriage born out of love, it was a strategic decision. By marrying Winkelmeyer, Ivana gained Austrian citizenship, which allowed her to leave Czechoslovakia without the stigma of defection. It was a calculated move that ensured she could visit her family back home while exploring new opportunities abroad. The marriage, however, was short-lived. In 1972, Ivana obtained an absentee divorce in Los Angeles, where Winkelmeyer had relocated to teach skiing. This chapter of her life closed as quickly as it began, but it served its purpose. It gave Ivana the freedom she needed to pursue her ambitions. Canada was Ivana's next stop. In Montreal, she found herself in a whirlwind of romance, tragedy, and reinvention. She became involved with George Siravatka, a man she had been dating since 1967. Siravatka had defected to Canada 2 years earlier and owned a successful ski boutique in Montreal. Ivana often claimed they were married, but the two never officially tied the knot. Life in Montreal wasn't easy, but Ivana was never one to back down from a challenge. She worked as a ski instructor and took up modeling, not out of passion, but necessity. She juggled night courses at McGill University to improve her English, all while modeling for clients like Eaton's department store and fashion designer Oleg Cassini. Her most notable modeling job was for the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, a gig that kept her connected to the world of sports even as she contemplated her next move. That next move came in 1976, and it would change her life in ways she could never have imagined. Ivana was in New York City for a modeling assignment when she crossed paths with a brash, ambitious real estate developer named Donald Trump. It wasn't love at first sight, at least not for Ivana. She was still involved with someone in Montreal and wasn't looking for a new relationship. But Donald had other plans. He wasn't the type to take no for an answer. Over the next few months, Donald pursued Ivana with a tenacity that would become his hallmark. He sent her 100 roses, treated her to extravagant dinners, and called her relentlessly, even when she returned to Montreal. His persistence paid off when he surprised her by attending one of her runway shows in Canada. By Christmas, Ivana couldn't deny the connection any longer. Donald invited her to Aspen for a vacation, a trip that would seal their fate. On New Year's Eve, as the snow fell around them, Donald made a bold declaration: "If you don't marry me, you'll ruin your life." Ivana, caught up in the moment, agreed. Ivana and Donald Trump's marriage was nothing short of a spectacle from the very beginning. The lavish ceremony on April 9, 1977, at the iconic Marble Collegiate Church in New York City was a grand affair attended by the crème de la crème of society. Ivana, radiant in her wedding gown, was not just stepping into a marriage but into a world of power, wealth, and relentless ambition. The honeymoon in Mexico, which should have been a blissful start to their union, brought a surprise that neither expected: Ivana was pregnant. By the end of that year, on December 31, 1977, she gave birth to their first child, Donald Jr., marking the beginning of their family dynasty. But marriage to Donald wasn't just about family, it was about business, power, and prestige. Ivana quickly found herself not just as a wife but as a crucial player in Donald's rapidly expanding real estate empire. Donald, recognizing her keen eye for design and detail, appointed her as the vice president of interior design at the Commodore Hotel, which he was transforming into the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Ivana's touch was everywhere. She didn't just decorate, she created atmospheres of luxury and grandeur that would become synonymous with the Trump brand. Their partnership in business was formidable. Ivana wasn't just behind the scenes, she was at the forefront, especially with the development of Trump Tower. Her influence was unmistakable in the sleek, opulent interiors that became a hallmark of the building. But perhaps her most significant achievement was her role as the president of the Plaza Hotel. Here, Ivana's leadership and vision took center stage, transforming the Plaza into more than just a hotel. It became a symbol of New York elegance. But despite the professional success, cracks were beginning to form in their personal lives. By the late 1980s, the strain of their high-profile lives began to take its toll. The holiday season of 1989 was supposed to be a time of celebration, but instead, it turned into a turning point. While vacationing in Aspen, Ivana's world was shattered when she came face-to-face with Marla Maples, Donald's mistress. The confrontation was anything but private. Witnesses recounted the tension-filled encounter that quickly became the stuff of tabloid legend. Ivana, always composed in public, couldn't hide the pain of betrayal. The marriage, once seen as a powerful union, began to unravel under the weight of scandal and public scrutiny. Despite their efforts to keep up appearances for the sake of their children, the damage was done. By February 1990, the situation reached a boiling point. Donald, in a move that shocked many, locked Ivana out of her office at the Plaza Hotel. This wasn't just a personal slight, it was a clear signal that the partnership, both marital and professional, was crumbling. Legal battles over their prenuptial agreement soon followed, and the media had a field day with every sordid detail. As if the public drama wasn't enough, tragedy struck Ivana personally when her father, Miloš Zelnicek, passed away suddenly in October 1990. The revelation that he had been an informant for Czechoslovakia's intelligence service added a layer of complexity to her grief. Despite their ongoing divorce, Donald stood by her side during this difficult time, a rare moment of solidarity amidst their tumultuous separation. The divorce, finalized in 1992, was one of the most publicized and contentious of the decade. Ivana's accusations against Donald were shocking, claims of rape and abuse that only intensified the media frenzy. Yet, despite the bitterness of their split, Ivana walked away with a substantial settlement: $14 million, $650,000 per year in child support, their Connecticut home, a flat in Trump Tower, and 1 month a year at Mar-a-Lago. But even after the divorce, Ivana and Donald managed to find a way to coexist. They prioritized their children, and over time, their relationship softened. Ivana's presence at Donald's presidential inauguration in 2017 was a testament to their ability to put their differences aside for the sake of family unity. Donald, for all his faults, respected Ivana's opinions and often sought her counsel, even during his presidency. Marla Maples, the woman at the center of the scandal that ended Ivana and Donald's marriage, later expressed her own regret. She hoped for Ivana's forgiveness, emphasizing her desire for peace and her love for Ivana's children. Marla's relationship with her stepchildren, particularly Tiffany, remained close, underscoring the complex family dynamics that had evolved over the years. After her highly publicized divorce from Donald Trump, Ivana sought to rebuild her life and love again. In 1991, she found herself drawn to Riccardo Mazzucchelli, a suave Italian entrepreneur known for his grand romantic gestures. Their courtship was nothing short of cinematic, with Riccardo often going to extravagant lengths to win her affection. On one occasion, after a simple lunch, he filled an entire room with roses, a gesture that left Ivana both flattered and intrigued. Riccardo was determined to marry Ivana and initially proposed with a 10-carat diamond ring. Despite the glittering offer, Ivana declined. But Riccardo was persistent. 3 years later, he proposed again, this time with a stunning Burmese sapphire, and Ivana finally said yes. Their marriage in 1995 promised a fresh start, but it lasted only 20 months. Despite Riccardo's declarations of love and his claims that he had given Ivana more than Donald ever did, their relationship quickly soured. The end of their marriage wasn't amicable. Ivana sued Riccardo for $15 million, citing a breach of their confidentiality agreement. The legal battle was bitter, but eventually, they settled out of court, bringing a quiet end to their short-lived union. But Ivana didn't remain single for long. In 1997, she began a passionate romance with Count Raffredo Gaetani dell'Aquila di Aragona Lavatelli, an Italian aristocrat whose name alone evoked images of nobility and old-world charm. Rossano was the epitome of European sophistication, a man with a love for fast cars, beautiful women, and the jet-setting lifestyle. Yet when he met Ivana, he claimed to have left his Playboy days behind, focusing instead on his business ventures. Their relationship was marked by high romance and mutual admiration. Rossano wasn't just a lover, he was a partner who respected Ivana's independence and strength. He famously gifted her a red Ferrari for her birthday, a gesture that reflected both his wealth and his deep affection for her. Unlike her previous relationships, Rossano brought a certain elegance to Ivana's life. Even Donald Trump, Ivana's ex-husband, approved of him, calling Rossano a high-quality guy, a rare compliment from the man who was notoriously critical of Ivana's former partners. Their relationship, however, was tragically cut short in 2005 when Rossano died in a car accident, leaving Ivana devastated. His death marked the end of one of the most meaningful relationships in her life, a connection that had offered her both love and respect. The last significant relationship in Ivana's life was with Rossano Rubicondi, a much younger Italian actor and entrepreneur. Their romance quickly blossomed into a whirlwind affair, culminating in a grand wedding at Mar-a-Lago in 2008. The wedding was a spectacle, attended by high society and filled with all the glamour one would expect from Ivana Trump. However, their marriage faced challenges from the start. By 2009, just a year after their wedding, Ivana and Rossano separated. But their relationship didn't end there. Over the next decade, they were often seen together, their on-again, off-again relationship keeping them in the headlines. They even competed together on the Italian version of Dancing with the Stars in 2018, their chemistry evident both on and off the dance floor. In 2019, they parted ways for what seemed like the final time, citing the difficulties of maintaining a long-distance relationship. Despite their breakup, they remained close, often spotted together in New York. But tragedy struck in October 2021 when Rossano passed away suddenly at the age of 49. His death was a severe blow to Ivana, who had grown accustomed to his presence in her life, even as friends. Ivana Trump's final months were marked by a gradual withdrawal from the world she had once dominated with such confidence. Health challenges crept into her life, slowing her down and casting shadows over the vibrant socialite she had always been. Fear of COVID-19 played a significant role in her reclusiveness. Despite the safety measures and vaccines available, Ivana was terrified of contracting the virus, so much so that she confined herself to her New York townhouse, cutting herself off from the glittering social circles she once reveled in. But it wasn't just the fear of illness that kept Ivana indoors. Years of skiing, a sport she had loved and excelled at, had taken a severe toll on her body. Her hip was a constant source of pain, a daily reminder of the physical toll her active lifestyle had exacted. This pain became so debilitating that even simple pleasures like dining at her favorite restaurants were out of reach. Ivana's friends, like Zach Iram, often recalled how the discomfort kept her homebound, missing out on the social life she once cherished. The situation worsened after a fall she suffered at a restaurant, tripping over a purse left carelessly on the floor. The accident aggravated her existing injuries, amplifying her pain and adding to her growing sense of isolation. Adding to her emotional burden was the death of Rossano Rubicondi, her ex-husband and the last great love of her life. While Ivana never admitted to being depressed, she confided in close friends about the profound sadness she felt after his passing. Rossano's death was a wound that never fully healed, leaving Ivana to wrestle with her grief in silence. Then came the morning of July 14, 2022, a day that began like any other but ended in tragedy. Initial reports suggested that Ivana had suffered a heart attack, but the truth was far more heartbreaking. Ivana had fallen down the stairs in her townhouse, a fall that would prove fatal. The New York City medical examiner revealed that her death was caused by blunt impact injuries to her torso, ruling it an accident. It was a tragic end that many close to her had feared. Friends had long worried about the steep staircase in her home, with its worn carpet and lack of modern safety features. Nikki Haskell, a close confidant, had even refused to stay in Ivana's home because of the treacherous stairs. Yet, despite these concerns, Ivana had continued to live in her beloved townhouse, a place filled with memories of her extraordinary life. When Ivana's personal aide and a cleaning lady couldn't reach her that morning, they knew something was wrong. They enlisted the help of a maintenance worker to open the door, and that's when they discovered Ivana's lifeless body at the bottom of the stairs, a spilled cup of coffee beside her, a simple, poignant detail in the wake of such a complex life. Ivana's funeral, held on July 20, 2022, was as glamorous as one would expect for someone of her stature. It was a full Catholic service at St. Vincent Ferrer Roman Catholic Church, attended by her 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, each of whom spoke lovingly of their mother. The gathering was a who's who of high society, with former First Lady Melania Trump and Baron Trump also paying their respects. Yet, among the expected faces, one guest stood out, surprising everyone in attendance: Vanessa Trump, Donald Jr.'s ex-wife. Their split had been messy, filled with rumors and public scrutiny. Vanessa had often been the subject of Ivana's candid opinions, especially when it came to her failed marriage with Donald Jr. The fact that she showed up, offering comfort to her daughter, Kai, was a testament to the complex web of relationships that Ivana had navigated throughout her life. Vanessa's presence was unexpected, but it highlighted the enduring influence Ivana had on those around her, even in death. As her family and friends said their final goodbyes, it was clear that Ivana Trump's legacy would live on, not just through her children and the empire she helped build, but through the indelible mark she left on everyone who knew her. Please subscribe to our channel The Celebrity X Files for more documentaries like this. Thank you for watching.